Hello, all. This is the Skull Ginger, and today, or I guess yesterday, I released one video on this, and it's one of me watching Cabooses video with the new gameplay and stuff. I wanted to come on here and talk about this IGN article specifically about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. And first off, I want to start out. I know this game's getting a lot of hate because it's quote unquote, well, live service, which it is, but it's also single player, which is something Rocksteady went back and spent the last year doing since it was initially announced as live service, because a lot of people were throwing fits. I've seen a lot of people on X just complaining about it, crying about it, what have you. And yesterday, as of releasing this video, but today, as of making this video, the NDA was up and people could talk about the game, including IGN. And as you can see, if it would let me, it's not gonna let me, but as you can see, IGN did not like the game. The title reads Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Preview. We played it and didn't like it. Rocksteady's first large-scale game in almost 9 years is not clicking with us yet. Obviously, this is a very weird take to have. I mean, it's not weird, but it's, I don't know what to say. It's a lot of these takes that they have in this article, especially this part here. Oh, well, no, not that part. This part is a weird take to have. It's, and I'll talk about it when I get there. But the first thing I want to talk about is this section right here. It's this first section. So this first section is obviously it's opening by talking about the game, and they talk about the story. I want to talk about this because this has been nagging the hell out of me about these motherfuckers that talk about this game and expecting a fucking Disney movie from this game. And it's just this part here. Okay, let me read this part. Let me right here. Our heroes have done terrible things. There will be time travel mechanics or time reversal mechanics or some alternate Earth timeline, which, I mean, according to the leaks, there will be, but these motherfuckers don't know that. So, what have you, that come along and washes away all the terrible awfulness that happened during the story. From enslaving a child form of poison ivy. Okay, and they double down on this in this next section, which I will talk about. But first off, I won't even touch on it. Say it. To straight up watching your heroes murder people. There's a lot here to make you feel a bit uncomfortable about the journey you're being taken on. Yes, but the Justice League are murdering people. They are murdering people because Brainiac brainwashed them. Okay, Brainiac brainwashed them, and they are murdering people. This isn't a Avengers movie where the heroes, you're playing as the heroes. You're playing as the Suicide Squad. You're playing as the villains. What do you? The heroes are the villains, and the villains are the heroes in the story. What more do you want from it? Like, what else do you expect from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? The Justice League are doing bad things because they are brainwashed. And yet this person seems that they are uncomfortable with Superman, Batman murdering people because they're brainwashed. Do you want does this guy just want, I don't know what does he want from a game like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? What kind of story do you want? Because this guy obviously wants a Marvel movie where the heroes make some quirky, funny gag at the beginning and go, oh, he's just right behind me, isn't he? and you pair that with disconnect from game mechanics straight out of the likes of Destiny, Anthem, and Marvel's Avengers. And I've touched on this before in my previous video about the game. But yes, it is a live service game. Yes, there is some live service implementation to it, but you can play solo, right? You can play solo and miss almost all. That's what I'm guessing. I haven't got my hands on it. Then he says, "Let me explain more detail. The story has its fun moments, and yes, the team banter, at least during cutscenes is when Kill the Justice League is at its best." Which I don't. So he likes the team banter between. Suicide Squad has always been about the team banter. That's why people loved the James Gunn 20. When did that movie released? 20. Was it 2020 when it released? Or 2022? I'm not sure when it released. But that's why people. I don't. The cutscenes have been given love. Meanwhile, the character models look great. The voice acting is on point, and there are moments when I genuinely laughed, thinking that this could be enough to carry me through the messy, tired, open world missions. While they could reverse time to fix the morality issue at play. So the morality issue that they're talking about is the Justice League murdering people. So let me ask this straight up: are we forgetting that the morality issue at play here? I mean, in Arkham City, Gotham built cut off an entire part of the city built just to put the prisoners in, and Hugo Strange was planning on killing every single, even if they were guilty of a crime or not, killing every single last one of them. Isn't that a morality issue? But you didn't have an issue about that then, but you have an issue with the Justice League. I mean, we've seen bad Superman a lot recently, from The Boys, from Invincible. This isn't a new, I mean, yes, they're not Superman, but they've killed plenty of, the Omni-Man and Homeland has killed plenty of people, and yes, those stories are for that, but this story is for that also. This is telling, at the very heart of the story, at least from what I get, this is telling a bad Superman, a evil Superman story, that our heroes are not the heroes that they once were. Chances are that will be difficult given the planned expansion, story edition, and gear chases coming later on in the form of free updates. I want to get to a part. This means we'll be stuck with the terrible things that transpire and if the name sticks, stuck with dead Justice League members. Yes, that's the point of the game, is kill the Justice League. And I feel like a lot of people don't like this pretentious moment. They are very pretentious about this, thinking that, oh, I don't want him to kill the Justice League so we could have another game, or we gotta have another game where he plays the Justice League. I don't, from a writer myself, I hate when authors take liberties in the story they are currently telling to set up other stories. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Let me give you a plain example of what I mean with that. Phase 4 of Marvel does this a lot. Does the exact thing that I'm talking about all the time. Would they sacrifice current stories to set up other stories? A good example of that, and I mean, despite what you think of, despite the IPs I'm talking about, the two superheroes that I'm talking about, because I've seen both of them, and this is a good example of that. Think of the Miss Marvel show, or is the Miss Marvel show that they had. The entire point that they told that story was to set up the Marvelous movie. Think about that. The only point they spent all that money telling that story was to set up another story. And I'm not saying you can't do this as a storyteller. I'm saying that you shouldn't sacrifice your current storytelling. Make one story shit because you want to make another story better. You see what I mean? And this is what this guy who's writing this article wants. He wants the writers at Rocksteady to take liberties when they are writing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, so that another story that he doesn't even know about. Like he, if I'm pretty sure if I walked up to him like, okay, what would be your Justice League story that you'd come in mind in the Arkham universe? He couldn't come up with anything because he is not a writer. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he is a writer, but he's not a storyteller. But hey, they punch Boomerangs for putting a bomb in her head. But hey, they punch Boomerang for putting a bomb in her head. I don't know what he's. But hey, they punch. I'm like rereading this on mine, and I'm not. I don't know if this is a certain. If this is a cutscene that I haven't seen from the game or not. But I don't. I don't know. But okay, hold on. But hey, they punch Boomerang for putting a bomb in her head. So let's move on from that whole enslaving a child thing. So okay, so he's moving on to enslaving. And by the way, he gets this wrong. I know it's a poison ivy. This is kind of Waller's thing, but I'm using it to illustrate a point. But his entire thing, from what I remember, and I'll play the clip right here where Ivy talks about it. It wasn't, from what that clip said, it wasn't Waller that enslaved Poison Ivy. It was Lex Luthor who enslaved her, or enslaved her, quote unquote, whatever you want to say, because I don't want to say it's enslaved. But I'm pretty sure what it was said was that Lex Luthor, unless he's talking about a completely different cutscene that I haven't seen, Lex Luthor was using Ivy to try to find a way to take down the Justice League. Is what that, at least if this is the cutscene I'm thinking about, where they showed in the, it wasn't the state player, whatever that last developer thing, it wasn't Waller, so this guy's straight up getting the story points all wrong. Unless he's, I mean, I know he's played more than me, but I've seen the cutscenes, so anything. Anyway, all these things in one feels like a odd mix. Rockstar had a winning formula with the Batman game, and is trying to write a completely new book, but so far, lightning is not in the bottle. Rocksteady, I keep saying Rockstar. Rocksteady had a winning formula with the Batman games and is trying to write a completely new book. Yes, Rocksteady is trying to make a new game, not around Batman. I don't know how many people need to be told that. I don't know how many times people need to get that through their thick head. This game isn't about Batman. It's about the Suicide Squad and the Justice League. But so far, lightning is not in this bottle. Okay. Then he talks about a live service game from Rockstar is not what I had on my Christmas list this year. Good thing this game's coming out in January. This team is single-handedly responsible for making the best combat I've experienced. The combat areas in the Arkham series also allowed you to tackle them from south, whatever, adding further flavor and variety to Bruce Wayne's vigilante. To this day, in fact, you can find ridiculous takedown montage. So he's talking about the Arkham game. Unfortunately, for Suicide Squad, once the fun story bits in, you're left with a much less inspired combat system and an open world that's filled with tedious tasks and that are more than about grinding through traditional tropes like point defense or collect them. Now, I will say, this entire point I hear, I haven't got my hands on the game. I haven't experienced the open world, so I cannot speak on this from a gameplay perspective. There might be a lot of grinding. Might be a lot of what you would call it, game as a service stuff in there, stuff that you'd see in Destiny, stuff you would have seen in the Avengers game. I don't know. So this guy might be right about this. I'm not sure. There are shining moments with the combat, such as powerful feeling of takedowns, and there does seem to be some depth into the build of variety. But you do it surrounded by teammates who won't shut up with their quips, which quickly become annoying. I don't know if this piece... Obviously, this piece is opinion piece because you're part of a squad. It's Suicide Squad. So you have teammates. Would you rather just be flying around with your teammates being silent the entire time? That's like saying playing Destiny, right? and you're going through the story, and your ghost is just quiet the entire time, giving you no background on what you're doing whatsoever. It's this guy it's writing this is, and when the combat does start, it has its fun moments, but it also has a weird issue like long animations to gain your shield, or you get knocked out of an animation for unclear reasons. Now, this might be what Caboose was talking about, where there is a lot going on the screen. But I mean, a lot of it looks fun to me, and I've seen a lot. At least Caboose said the gameplay feels really great, and I don't technically know from like I haven't played the game, but long animations to gain your shield. So I'm guessing there's an animation where you stop. It's either like Destiny where the shield regains over time, or there's an animation that you can press a button and the squad member will do something on their body to regain the shield, or you get knocked out of an animation for unclear reasons. I will put money down, 100 bucks down, that when it comes to this right here, this guy was standing out in the open trying to do whatever animation he wanted, and they just got shot from an enemy that he didn't see because he was out in the open, and he's just calling it unclear reasons because he's bad at the game. I will tell you, this guy's definitely bad at the game, because this next part that we're about to go over exemplifies why IGN should not be able to do articles like this. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Why we have this provided boss fight footage, and I haven't seen the footage, or is this might be his footage, but I haven't seen it. Fight against the flash footage to reference, but I don't know if this is him playing it. But whatever. I just want to mention that I found this fight incredibly annoying. There's no indication where the flash is most of the time, other than I saw Caboose fight that little part that Caboose added into his video. I saw it. There's clear moments where the Flash is standing still and you can shoot him. So I don't really know what he wants here. There's no indication where the Flash is most times, and he's the Scarlet Speedster, so he's just constantly appearing on the map. Yes, I mean, so Rocksteady, when they were making the Flash fight, either had two options. One, do what they did, where they had a Flash zipping around and they had him stop so the play could actually hit him. Or they could have done what I'm pretty sure this guy would have wanted him to do, and would have wanted them to maim the Flash somehow, so he's not Speedster or something. So it's actually more of a, Justice League, but the Suicide Squad gets their uppets on the Flash because doesn't have his abilities for some reason, which is not a fun fight from what I saw. They didn't make the fight hard. It just made it frustrating. You get a handful of shots on before you teleports to the next location. That's exactly what I said. I saw the Caboose video. That doesn't sound annoying. So you're just trying to chase him down or catch him standing in one spot long enough to get hits in before he does it all again. I do wish there was a bit of he's down, get him moment. Okay. This guy, literally, what he wanted Rocksteady to do was he wanted the Flash to lay down and just let you beat on him. That's what he wanted. He wanted a moment where the Flash just lays down and the squad just beats on him. I know Spider-Man has those moments, but Spider-Man doesn't have fast enemies like this. He has Venom. The Venom fight was fantastic for what it was. But it was just a press X and then jump when needed. So at least in my games, I don't know about this guy, but at least in my games, I like to have enemies or have boss fights where I'm using my brain a little bit, and I'm like, okay, so the Flash is going to be here, here, here. His next spot's going to be here, so maybe if I want to look this way, I can actually see him and get some damage in. Just me, though. But unfortunately, it seems like that trope wasn't used here. WB also sent over some footage of an experienced Shark player, King Shark, wrecking shop, so I included a montage of the gameplay in my video preview above to show what it looks like when someone has played for hundreds of hours versus a couple hours at the preview event. In the open world, however, missions tend to favor many of the tried and true types, which makes them feel like a bit of an uninspired filler. Okay, like I said, looter shooter, gas type of game. Like, stop me if you heard this one before. You defend that point. Okay, so just live service game. Sound familiar? Now imagine that every time you defeat a handful of these enemies, you just stand around waiting with nothing to do. This was exactly what happened during one of the core story missions, and the padding feels completely unnecessary. I don't technically know what he's talking about, where you're just standing there, but I imagine you complete a mission and the loot drops, and what he's talking about. Like, say at the end of a raid in Destiny, you beat the final boss, and you're standing there looting the chest, and what the developers want you to do is look through the loot that you just got. But this guy, I don't know, because this is a looter shooter, so he could have probably been looking through what he just got. I don't know. When the quest started, I stood there while Amanda called my character on comms and bantered with Poison Ivy before sending me back to the other end of the map to save civilians in a flying bus, looking like it's straight out of Fortnite. At least the real puzzles are making a return. Ooh, I don't know about that. I really like the real puzzles, but it is what it is. Bring at least one more fun activity to Suicide Squad's Metropolis. The potential saving grace for all my gripes could be the whole combat system come together a lot better. When you sit down and eventually make a build, which we didn't have a chance to do right away. At the preview event, for some context, we started out playing the same tutorial from beta and picking a character, so you played Deadshot. After that, we jump into Chapter 3, so 3 chapters after the start of the game, where I tried out Shot. What I didn't realize that was Chapter 3 gives you complete build control, and having played on different classes, it took me a bit of a session to get warmed up to the new move mechanics Shock had compared to Deadshot. If we look back at that provided Flash gameplay, it looks like the player has a good grasp of movement when it all comes back to some of the core mechanics. Aim gun, shoot gun, and those mechanics in the game like Destiny really save it. Here it just felt samey across the board, even with each character's abilities sprinkled in. I didn't even really get the time to look at my gear stats and throw something together to try out. I did try a build recommendation from Jack Hackett, production manager at Bucksteady, but I didn't have enough time to get used to how it flowed. However, his excitement over the build possibility does continue to give me a glimmer of hope. So this guy is complaining about... This is fucking outrageous, dude. This guy is complaining about all the characters feeling samey, but in the same paragraph, he says he didn't get to explore, he didn't get to experience, or didn't use the build mechanic, which is how you make the characters different, or get to look at the gear stats, and he didn't use the gear stats or the build mechanics whatsoever, is what it's saying here. So he didn't even use a portion of the game that makes the characters feel different, and yeah, he's complaining in the same paragraph how the characters all feel different. All feel the same. Great journalism here, boys. Great journalism. To give you a taste of what you're looking at, there are weapons of fiction that attach an element. I know this, deep freeze, yeah, just like fire, freeze, whatever. Ping will let you craft new weapons, shield mod transfer, and there are some interesting guns like Bug a Poppin' that will not do damage to Terminite, which blah blah blah. I know I've really been hard on Suicide Squad Killer Justice, and believe me, I really want to be wrong about it. Not only is Rocksteady one of my favorite developers, but this genre is one I've spent far too much time in across. Destiny, Anthem, and yes, even Marvel's Avengers. But while there is a story here that makes me wonder where the heck all this is going, I left the preview event less optimistic than when I came in. Here's hoping Suicide Squad wins me back when it releases on February 2nd. Hey, that's the end of the article. I think that's the end of the article, yeah. So, obviously, I've kind of dogpiled on this guy. Destin League. I don't even know how to say his name because I do not like his takes that he has in this article. I feel like a lot of his complaints about the story, he can't handle. He can't handle a deeper story. I pray to God that this guy had never played a game like Cyberpunk because some of the themes in that game, this guy would be crying in a corner in. Um, but honestly, I think this article is fucking stupid because he makes really no point. And one point he's talking about, oh, well, I feel all the characters feel samey, and then in another sentence he's like, well, I didn't get to try out building a build for myself to see what I would have liked. It's all fucking stupid that this guy's opinion even matters. Now, with that being said, this is all his opinion, or I hope he wrote this as an opinion piece, a lot of it, because this should be as an opinion piece, but you never know with guys like this. But anyway, that's going to be all for me today. I thought I would take a look at this article that's been tossing around and give my opinion on it. If you like what you've seen, please leave a like and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.